All right, rollers. So for today's first video, I've got 4 planks that I purchased at our fabulous $5 store, known otherwise as the Dollar Tree. So I was being lazy and I chose to actually just spray paint these outside. I was hoping for a good day to paint them because, you know, it was dreary weather. So once I got those all spray painted and ready, I just glued them together. I was trying to decide which way to go to align them so that they could be correctly position, because these aren't exactly the same size or shape. So once we get all that done, line them up to make it just basically a square. That's all we're actually doing. So you see me turning them around. I just wanted to make sure that they aligned as best as possible. I'm using wood glue. You're more than happy to use hot glue. The only reason I don't use hot glue is because it leaves like a gap in between the wood. So that's my preference here. Now, once that was done, I flipped it over and grabbed me some popsicle sticks. I'm using that just to secure the back of it to give it some stability. Now, I cut this with my scissors. Would I recommend that you use your good scissors? No, I didn't think to use my, I forget what they're called. They're those shears that you can use at an angle. That would be a better option, but that's perfectly fine. So I glue the back and then that'll be it. Save your little scraps because I'm going to need it here in the middle portion of them. I went a little overboard on this. You probably don't need as many as I did, but I really didn't want these to go anywhere. And you'll see me rounding off the edges here in a second, and that's only because I realized that I didn't like the square edges because it was a little too sharp for my taste. And then I'm just going to use the little my book just to weigh it down to give it the perfect weight so that it'll dry exactly how I want it to. Now we're going to move into my garage, which is other words my wood room. So I've grabbed this home sign from the DT as well. It's MDF, it's not really wood, and I'm just pulling off the hanger because I'm not going to use it to hang. And grab you some Mod Podge. I'm going to do a test run. Actually, it's more not even a test run, it's just actually this method that I've been dying to try. So apply some a moderate amount of Mod Podge. Get the edges because you're going to need it to go on the edges, but just not too excessive. Once you layer on your tissue paper, cut off as close to the wood piece as you possibly can, because once you start to light this up, you're not going to want it to burn too excessively to get to the image. And that's what you see me doing right here, just cutting off all the excess that I don't need. Now, I was really looking forward to this and I could not wait. I was like a big old kid. It was cold outside and I was like, I'm doing this. I don't recommend you doing this in your craft room because, like I said, you're going to be burning things and you don't want to burn anything. So I have my spray bottle and let's get seeing this magic happen. At this point, I was just in shock that it actually worked. So I was jumping up and down. Well, in the video I wasn't, but in my head I was jumping up and down because I thought I was going to completely mess up this entire thing because I really wanted to do it with cloth. But when I thought about doing it, I was like, I might burn down my house if I use a cloth. So I've had to struggle finding a design that will work. But I did not paint it. So after it was done, I was like, maybe I should have painted the base, but I really wanted to be less, I don't know what the word I'm trying to do. I wanted the design to not be so obvious as a Valentine's Day decor. I wanted to be a little more discreet. So once I was done and I did everything that I wanted to, I realized I really liked the end result of this. So if you want to paint it, it will probably look really good, but this was the look that I was going for. So I'm just burning off little pieces that I see here and there that I need to be painted. And then once you're done, you're just going to grab your, once you're happy with it, actually, you're just going to grab your sandpaper or something to sand it. Nail file would actually work just as well because you're going to end up with trying to get into these tiny nooks and crannies. I'll eventually switch to my sandpaper that I use in my rotary sander here in a minute because I really couldn't get into the really small spots of these words. decided that I wanted to add a little bit of Mod Podge on top just to seal everything in, make sure everything looks good and it has one look to it, whether it be the sheen look or glossy look, and just seal everything on the edges. For me, that worked out perfectly. But if you decide to try this, just do what looks best for you in your decor. That's all I don't have. This is the first time I'm doing this, so I don't know what else to suggest for this, but this worked perfectly for me. You'll see it later on how it looks. You won't even be able to tell. It looks like it's perfect. Now let's go back to the other room. All right, so here's the finished palette. It looks great, but because it was spray painted, the white looked a little too stark white once I put the home word up against it. So I just grabbed some chalk black paint from Waverly and just did a basic quick dry brushing on top of it. Now I'm staring at this thinking, I don't know if I want to do it slanted, if I want to do it straight. And 9 times out of 10 when I'm doing a wood decor piece, I usually opt for more of the slanted look, because for me and my eye, the slanted looks a little better. So that's what you see me here trying to figure out what I want to look, how I want to lay it down. So I was originally going to use this new glue, but again, I much prefer the wood glue when I'm using wood items. So now I've made up my decision and we're just gonna lay everything down. So unlike my previous video, I don't know if you guys have watched it, and I hope you have, I did a lot more red on this one, so it kind of balanced itself out with the red and then my neutral decor. So for me, it worked out pretty well. All right, so now with the bottom of this, it looked a little bland and unfinished to me. So I grabbed this flower, but it was too big and I didn't like it. I was just like, I'm not feeling it, and it was just too much glitter and I wasn't feeling it. So to be honest with you, these were the last 2 choices that I picked out for this. I went through so much greenery. I literally have a basket full of greenery and I could not decide on what to use. So I grabbed this eucalyptus pick. Is that what these are called? I think they're picks from Home Depot. No, I'm sorry, not Home Depot, Hobby Lobby. And you'll see me trying to lay this down, deciding if I want to do this, because I don't use greenery that often anymore. So this was a struggle for me on this one. Oh my goodness. This was giving me a hard time trying to decide what I'm going to do to finish this. Let me know, do you guys ever have projects that you think you're done and you just don't know what is missing on it because you're staring at it and you eventually just have to walk away because you're just over the project? So that was me during this one. But I was like, okay, I'm just going to put this down here. I'm going to use some hot glue, because you guys know I don't use hot glue very often, but I decided to use it because in the event that I don't like this, I can just use my heat tool and heat the hot glue up and take it off and put something else on there. I don't know. I probably won't, because while I'm doing this voiceover here, it actually doesn't look so bad. But let me know what you guys think about this one. I don't know. But I felt good about it after I was done. Is sitting in my foyer and nobody has actually said, hey Ro, what in the GGs were you thinking about when you did this? So let's see what happens from here. All right, so this project was a heart that I had started working on a year or 2 ago, but ended up changing my mind, never knowing what to do with it. And what it is 2 hearts from the Dollar Tree glued together perfectly, painted white. And the DTF, the image that I'm working on is a DTF that I've just actually separated from its original packaging. So if you don't know, you can actually order on Amazon a bunch of DTF images, just like anything else. You just, all the seasons, just do a search on Valentine's Day, St. Patrick's Day, whatever, and they are so super affordable. And that's what I did here. Separated it because it had another layer of hearts and I didn't want to use all those hearts. So I just put that on there. You heat it up, and then I use my mini press, let it cool, because it is a cool peel, or cool, not actually a cold peel, not a cool peel. And once I got done with that, you'll see me apply my other wording that came from another design within this bundle. Now, I will have to say that when I use my heat tool, anytime I'm heat pressing, I always use my Teflon sheet, and I'll show you why in a little bit up further in this video. And that is really because I feel as though that is a great barrier between your blank and your project that you are working on, because sometimes you might actually have the heat a little too much, and so that Teflon gives you a great protection. So I grabbed these Hello Valentine words. I'm just adjusting it to make sure that it fits exactly how I envisioned it to fit, and we're going to just press it down with our mini press. This is where I said I messed up and did not use my Teflon, and you'll see where the words look like they're melted on, and that's because without the Teflon sheet, for me, I've always noticed that without that slight barrier, it almost feels like the heat is just too much. So that's just my pro tip for today. Just you take it for a grain of salt. Now for the finished end of this project, I wanted to hang this one. So look, because this one is a double heart, your girl was struggling putting this twine through these holes. I used my weeding tool to try to get the holes bigger. Don't judge me, guys. It was a struggle. It was a struggle, but we made it through. It's funny because I'm watching it now and I'm like, girl, did you use every weeding tool in your arsenal to try to get this thing to go through? But here, you see, I finally got it through. So the idea for this one was that I wanted the double knots to come from the front of the heart instead of from the back like we tend to. I've not done that before, but this one seemed like it just was the best idea for this particular design, so that's what I went with. I don't know, and it looks really nice how it came out. I was actually very happy for the end result. So there it is. Now, once I'm done with the knots, I opted to glue the knots on there so that they're not moving around, and it gave it more of a finished look for me, a more permanent look. And then after that, you guys know I usually burn my fray pieces off, but if you don't like the look, and I like the look of the burnt look that it gives it, but that's it. So this project is now done. So this last project, this is also a heart piece that I recently found at the Dollar Tree, and I picked this out because I wanted to work on it specifically because it has those plank grooves on it. All right, because I know that a lot of people ever so wonder if you should put vinyl or HTV on there, and I've done that before in the past before I had my YouTube channel. So as I was weeding this HTV, I realized I think I messed up on something, so I wasn't quite sure. So I had to pull it up on my cell phone and pull up Design Space, which I don't use Design Space on my phone very often. And then as I finished weeding, I realized the left corner did not cut all the way. And I used my Joy Extra, and I know I had all the pieces, the right size of HTV, so I have no idea why it didn't cut all the way. But neither here nor there. So I was sitting there trying to decide, do I want to recut the thing or not? And I was like, no, it's just not worth it because the rest of the HTV weeded out, cut out just fine. I'm not going to go through all that hassle. So I just left it alone because nobody's going to know unless they've watched this video. And I'm pretty sure you guys are not going to tell my little secret. All right. So moving on, and just making sure that everything is going to lay down perfectly and you won't even see the little oopsie that I made, Anyway, so I pull out my heat transfer, or is it my Teflon sheet, and we are going to get to pressing this on. Of course, my mat I have a glass mat and it is heat resistant, but I prefer not to use heat on there, so I had to remember to grab my my heating pad. All right, so always monitor your project. I waited till everything was cooled, and once I got that done, we're gonna peel this back, and I'm gonna show you why it's perfectly okay for you to use vinyl or HTV on these plank style wood projects, I guess. So here you'll see where it looks like the HTV has sunk into the grooves on there, but I'm gonna show you the two things that's gonna happen. You're just gonna have to keep watching and trust the process. It's gonna be just perfectly fine. As you're looking on towards the upper left side, you'll see how the HTV is already pulling itself back out because it's stretching itself to compensate since it's cooling off. So it's going to be perfectly fine. So we're going to put the glitter vinyl in position and go ahead. And I decided, well, let me cut it to see if I like the way that looks. But since it had already stretched itself to its original position, it wasn't going to work. So if you want to cut it, you should cut it while it's still warm or hot, whichever one you're going to peel. If you're going to peel it first, peel it and then cut it. But I didn't do that, so I chose that I liked it fully stretched out. So that's a choice that you can make. And here you see me pausing because obviously my husband was talking to me because he likes to mess with me when I'm in the middle of making a video. So here's what it looks like. The reveal of a glitter vinyl is just beautiful. I don't work with glitter adhesive, but glitter vinyl is just gorgeous. And you see how now that HTV lays down and stretches along those grooves perfectly. Now we're gonna add a little more heat just to allow everything to stretch back into position, and look at it, perfection. Alright guys, here's all the projects that we did in today's video. Look at how they all came out. Now, I'm still not completely happy with the home sign, but hey, this love one I think is really my favorite one because it is very neutral, uncommon colors. But hey, now the home one, actually, I'm looking at it and I do think it just came out quite nice. So this is the end of the video. I hope you guys really enjoyed it, and thank you for clicking on my channel, and we will see each other on our next video. Bye.